Welcome to Know Happiness, a podcast where we explore how we seek, find, and sustain happiness in some of the most unusual places. Today, I'm joined with Kristin. She's a mother, a writer, and an advocate who is courageously sharing her story after years of doing the deep inner work. Her journey is one of facing something decades later, working through it, and now using her voice to help others feel less alone. Welcome, Kristin.
Thank you.
It's so lovely to have you.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here. Nice to be here. Thank you.
I want to get us started. This is what I ask all of our guests.
Okay.
Is what is happiness to you? What does it mean to you?
I think happiness is being a mom first and foremost, and that probably sounds kind of cliche, but ironically, when I was a girl and growing up, I did not think I was going to be a mom. It was not something I was interested in. I became a mom later in life, and I kicked myself thinking, why did I not do this sooner? Because I don't know, I find so much purpose in it, and it truly makes me happy. But now, I guess for purposes of this show, it's more of I have survived and come out the other side of my biggest, hardest challenge in life. And so I have found my personal value. And I'm finally, it sounds also cliche, I am finally the woman I was supposed to be. And so that is just a very happy, joyful feeling.
Yeah,
you know?
So to me, what it sounds like is happiness is really purpose for you. Like
It is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. And
Yeah,
I find it interesting because I can relate to not wanting to be a mom, or for me, I was thinking I would not be a good mom.
Yeah.
You know, and then I found myself being a mother, and it's up until just recently that I realized, well, you know what? I think I did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I got great kids.
Yeah.
And I love that motherhood has brought me a lot of heartbreak, but also way more joy and happiness and contentment than I ever thought possible.
Yes.
How old are your children now?
18 and 15.
Okay. So you still got at least one at home?
Yes.
So how are you preparing for the great departure as they're getting ready to leave the nest here?
Well, I've lived in denial for my whole life, really. And so I'm still in denial.
Yeah.
You know, I just continue to savor every minute I get with him. And he knows that it's, these are precious moments. And I appreciate that he, I don't know, we just, you know, are evolving together, and because he knows he's going to be leaving too. And so our relationship, I think, has gotten even stronger as a result of that.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Because I have a teenage son. He's 16. And here as of late, it's been a lot of locking horns and not wanting to be touched. And he's really, you know, making the separation.
Yeah.
And while logically, I can understand why he needs to do that. Yeah. But my heart is not understanding that.
No.
It's been really tough for me. Because he's our last one. We have 4, you know, ranging from 26 down to 16. So we've still got a couple at home.
Yes.
One's getting ready to leave for college in the fall. And so there'll be just him. And us.
Yeah.
So
I'll be the only child.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is hard.
Yeah. So how has your definition of happiness, do you think, evolved over time?
Oh, goodness. It has evolved quite a bit. In high school, I recognized that I was a very sad person, and I never understood it. I never wanted to talk about it. And I just pretended like I was fine and happy, even though I had no idea where this sadness is coming from. And so now I understand it. And I think part of it was, you know, I think I did have a chemical imbalance, and I think I did just have an underlying low depression, you know, type of, I don't know, chemical imbalance, I guess. And then situationally, we moved after college, and I was away from my family and friends. And then you have postpartum depression. I experienced that. And then I think the, you know, based on the trauma that I experienced, that was another added reason why I was sad and depressed. But I think some of us are just born sad, and some of us just aren't, and we just can't explain it.
Like we almost come into this world with, because I can relate to that too. I remember in middle school listening to really sad, like all my friends are listening to boy bands and I'm listening to like Depeche Mode and The Cure.
Yes,
and,
the Cult.
you know, I was so deep and, you know, writing poetry and, you know, that was very sad poetry.
Yes.
You know, I think I had more of proclivity towards more of that shadow, darkness, you know, and that I felt different from other kids. And, you know, wide view, I was different. Yeah. My friends were not like me in that regard. Same. I think my parents' divorce probably started some of that. And then at that time when my parents were getting divorced, was when my grandfather and other members of the family started to molest me. And so I think, you know, I think we're both in places where, you know, thanks to EMDR, I can talk without any emotion around it. It's okay. And now in hindsight, this is going to sound strange, but kind of grateful that I was put through those experiences to come out because I don't think I'd be the same person. I know I wouldn't be the same person.
Right. Yeah.
You know, getting there.
Right.
Has been quite the journey, as we will get into with your story.
Yes. Yes.
So let's get to know you a little bit more. Okay. And what was your childhood like?
I loved my childhood. Oh my gosh. We were on such a special street of families that it was a community. Like we all were family. You know, there were 4 families specifically that we just, you know, one of the families, they're my second mom and dad. And I'm not going to cry, but I might.
That's okay.
And it was just so special. I can't even put it into words. It just felt safe. And there was so much love in on our block. And even today, any one of us could see each other and we would pick right where we left off. And so that was, I think, probably my saving grace in that I had that foundation of support and love, but it was unspoken. It just showed up in action and choosing to be, I don't know, just there for each other.
Wow, like it really does take a village. And you truly had a village of people, adults and kids that were all there that had your back.
Yes.
That's beautiful. Where was that?
North Kansas City area.
Okay.
It's kind of funny. I joke about it now, but one of the main streets, there was a strip club on the street, liquor store, you know, and then your basic grocery store.
You got a little something for everyone.
You know, you had the bank and the church and the schools, but we had a strip club in the neighborhood.
Okay.
And so anyway, I didn't think anything of it growing up. And now I look back at that and think, oh my gosh, that is so funny.
It is funny.
It's no longer there. But it's just so funny. Anyway, yeah.
So what did you learn early on about emotions or handling hard things in your childhood?
That they don't exist. That, and I love my parents beyond the moon. And, you know, they grew up in the generation where you don't talk about feelings. You just scoot everything under the rug and you don't have time to deal with it. I mean, life is too hard and you have too many responsibilities that you don't have time for it. Yeah. You just keep on going, which in a way, I feel like that is, for me, that almost gave me some strength because I didn't sit in pity and wallow, you know, in sadness and in hard times. I just would always, you know, pick myself up, keep on moving forward. And I did.
Yeah. Yeah. It really was that generation of pull yourself up by your bootstraps and we don't have time because we're busy working.
Yes.
You know, there's such a beautiful part of our parents and like their strong work ethic and, you know, but we were very much the like generation of like, well, figure it out. You're kind of on your own. You need to figure it out. Right. I mean, I was babysitting myself in the 2nd grade, you know, like, and that was normal. I can't even imagine like allowing my 2nd grader to walk home from school and stay alone till 6:00 at night. Like,
right. I know.
But that's what we were doing.
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
Looking back, do you think your early environment shaped how you processed difficult experiences later on?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't know as you grow up, as a kid, you're developing, you're figuring out, who you are, what you're about, trying to fit in, where do you fit in, and you're learning how to cope, you're learning how to just be a model citizen, but you're also learning how to emotionally regulate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really hard when our brains are developing and we're growing up because we just don't have that experience and knowledge yet. And then not being able to share what I was feeling, I just shut that processing down and didn't really give myself a voice, I think. Maybe if I did speak, I could have found my voice and I could have processed what I was feeling, but it just didn't seem like that was a thing to do.
Did that make you feel alone?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I have close girlfriends. We're still even good friends to this day. So, but we were there for each other too. I mean, I had really great girls in my life and I could have leaned on them because we did lean on each other for stuff. But that to me just seemed like a whole nother level of exposure, vulnerability. And in high school, you're not in that mindset.
Sure.
You want to go out and have fun.
Yeah.
And not deal with real life.
Well, I think that for me, I can relate with that, not wanting to be vulnerable, especially with women, because, I have been burned many times by sharing things.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, everybody knows, and being betrayed. And so that started, in grade school with, little girls. And we know how little girls can be horrible to each other.
Very judgmental and critical.
Yeah. And so I think that, looking back now for me, that definitely shaped how I kept things to myself.
Yeah.
It really was kind of on an island surrounded by people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You feel very alone and isolated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's jump into your college experience.
Okay.
You shared that you experienced sexual assault in college. What did that time in your life feel like?
Dark, very heavy, a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, confusion. I was trapped like in my own brokenness and I didn't understand it. I was too afraid to admit that it happened. I literally denied that it happened. I was 18 with the first one and I was 22 with the second one. And the first person, I just met him and he was older. And, he said to me that next morning, you're not like the other girls. And I thought, okay, that's strange. There are others.
Right.
And, and then later, I learned that there will be more. I wasn't probably the first person he took advantage of. Mm-hmm. And if I was, then there was going to be a lot more to come. Yeah. And then unfortunately, I did find out that he had transferred from a different university. And there was rumors that the girl that he was with, that the same thing happened to her, but we didn't talk about it. We didn't define it as, rape or date rape or sexual assault or any of it. It was just, he was very manipulative. He was very coercive. And it's like I told myself that afterward is that was a one night stand. And that was how I got through it. And we ended up dating for 10 months.
Wow.
Because I told myself that it was a one night stand. I told myself that he cared about me, that because he came around and wanted to go out. And it was almost like I was protecting myself from acknowledging what had happened. Even though I knew something was wrong about it, I knew that I didn't consent. I knew that boundaries were broken, but yet I thought it was my fault because I shouldn't have gone to his apartment. And that is just, you have to face the fact that you didn't want to do that, but you feel responsible for it,
Yeah.
And you start to blame yourself because that stigma comes in, and the stigma is, you should have known better.
Right.
You just met him. Why would you go back to his house? And then it gets into, well, why did you accept a drink from him. And it goes into, well, what did you say to him? What did you wear?
What were you wearing?
What were you wearing? Yeah. And so it just turned into, I'm just partly responsible for it. And so that carrying that heavy shame and guilt and just despair of, I caused that. So I can't be that upset because I'm, responsible in some way. And so it was just very confusing. I was just very, very lost. And then eventually I just realized, he is not a good person.
Aside from the first interaction, there's a litany of things.
There's a lot of things there that I was oblivious to, and my roommate picked up on it. She just picked up on it, and I feel so bad because, I just couldn't see it.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that. That's a big story, and sadly, a very common one.
Unfortunately, yes. Yeah.
My son just shared with me, just up at KU, there was a girl who was in the bathroom at a bar having sex with someone, and it was being filmed by these boys that came in, and the boy that was with, and there's no way this girl was capable of consenting.
Right.
When you are that inebriated, that is, and I had, it opened the door for me to have a conversation with my son about, like, this is never okay.
No.
I don't care what the girl may say or how she's coming on. If she is intoxicated, it's a no for you.
Right.
It's absolute no.
Right.
But, it's ruining her life. Fortunately, we didn't have social media and people to blast things all over about what a whore we were or this, that, or the other, because that's the language used. But, this girl's life is ruined right now. And it's just really unfortunate that these things are still happening. And she came out and spoke, made a TikTok literally yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Just saying,
good for her.
I am pleading with people, like, there needs to be repercussions for these people who can just post things without our consent like that.
That is disgusting.
Yeah. And then that these platforms will allow it to be shared.
Right. Yeah. There's something very wrong about that.
Yeah.
On so many levels.
What was your initial response in the aftermath of those experiences? I know we kind of brushed on that, but if there's more you want to elaborate on.
I guess like the impact it had on me, I think, is, you lose your choice, but you lose your voice, and you kind of lose your autonomy. And you lose sight of trusting yourself and your own judgment, trusting other people. You don't feel safe in your skin anymore. You don't feel, well, I'm going to say me, but you don't feel safe anymore with other people. You're in survival mode, and it affects your perception of yourself in the world. For me, it was also, sex. My idea of sex had changed. I used to think it was, special, and that it was meant for only a certain few people, because I wasn't supposed to be having it anyway, right? And so they took that away. And so then sex became, a power, and it was something that was done to me, and that it was for someone else's pleasure, and that is all I was good for.
Wow.
So, your self-worth really tanks, your confidence, your self-esteem, you lose your value because they didn't value you. They did not have any consideration about how you would be affected. And that, when I, finally faced that part of therapy, that was really, really hard, because again, you go back to, well, I put myself in that situation. I should have known better. So you almost feel like, well, you deserve that. And it's just that back and forth battle in your brain, and it just becomes a very dark place, because if you can't trust yourself and trust other people, and you don't feel safe, and you don't have your value, those are the three, and respect, those are the biggest pillars and foundation, I think, for us as humans to have. And when you lose that, it's very hard to function. Very hard to function.
It's just so unfortunate. It doesn't even do it justice. But like the difference I see with like our teenage daughter and our teenage son going out. Yeah. And the fear, like,
Yes.
I worry, make sure my son's not doing things he's not supposed to, but I don't worry about him being physically attacked by someone.
Right.
You don't see a lot of men calling up their bros, hey, did you make it home tonight? But that's just part of being a woman, is that like we are constantly a target.
Yes.
And I don't know how that changes. How do we as a society make it safe for women again?
I know. And it's almost just giving the girls the tools of how to approach going out, approach walking a parking lot, approach walking into a bar, just approach letting them know you have value, and just let that be known in how you speak, and how you carry yourself, because predators can pick up on your weaknesses.
Oh, for sure.
They can pick up if you are someone that isn't going to fight back, because they don't want a fighter unless that's part of their kink, but they don't want a fighter. They want someone who just will submit.
Yeah.
And they can see that. It's like, a horse. They can pick up intuitively who you are in a second, and predators do that too.
Yeah.
And it's just teaching the girls how to, move about their world, and obviously give them spray, pepper spray, and
Well, that's why this conversation and what you're doing is so important, because if we don't talk about it and we aren't vulnerable and share our own experiences with things, then we could perpetuate that aloneness, that everything that you experience just continues for everyone else, and the more we can talk about these things. So I'm so grateful to you for being vulnerable, for being here, for sharing. Yeah. So
thanks for having me.
Yeah. So kind of the long-term impact, how did not processing those experiences affect you over the years?
Well, I think it deepened my lack of personal value. And then couple that with that sadness and depression, side by side. I've been, I think, a very highly functioning depressed person.
I believe it. I can understand.
And, I really wanted to be an occupational therapist. And it took me a long time to get to that. And I worked very hard to get into that school. But that part that I hadn't faced, that trauma, I still couldn't focus. I still couldn't commit to something. I still didn't trust myself. And I left the program. And, my other dream was and is, and hopefully it will be achieved soon, is to be a published author, which goes back to when you're sad and you are drawn to, the darkness of life, you want to, spread that. I don't even want to call it wisdom, but it's just you want to spread joy to other people, and you want to find it yourself, and creative outlets are that, painting and writing and poetry. And I love romance. Even though, I experienced what I did, I love romance, and I love to read that. And I want to, write about that. But it took me, and and I've been writing this book for 30 years.
Wow.
But I couldn't commit to it because I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
And so for so long, I just haven't been ready. But my kids helped me, ground me, I guess, out of that depression, which is going back to the, highly functioning depressed person, is I wanted to be successful for them because they are so valuable and so precious, and I didn't want to fail them, even though I felt like a failure myself because I hadn't, accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. I didn't complete school. I didn't, I haven't written that book. And, but they, that was the other reason, is I wanted to give them everything that I didn't have as a kid. I want them to know that I am safe, that they can come to talk to me about anything. I don't care what it is. I will be open and willing and listen without judgment, criticism. I am your rock. Just don't ever forget that. And I wanted to give them that foundation of value that they were seen and heard. And
I free to express emotions without recourse.
Right. Yeah. So they grounded me in that regard. And I forgot the original question. I'm sure there's more that I was going to say on that.
Well, we were just kind of like, yeah, let's take a little water break.
Yeah, where was I going with that? What was the question?
Well, the original question was how did not processing those experiences.
Right. Okay, yeah.
You want to just keep going because I like what you said.
Yeah, okay, thanks. So not processing it. So I just continued to deny and avoided. Like those are my two things: deny and avoid, shove it down, don't face it. But it got to a point where I couldn't do that anymore. Like it was coming to the edge of you can't do this anymore. And the kids were getting older too. And so that lack of energy, I was tired of being tired and exhausted from doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know, because I wasn't processing what I was feeling.
Like
and that's
stuck.
exhausting.
Yeah.
And you're stuck.
Yeah.
And so, and I think for so long, you know, what happens when you're traumatized and there's an amazing book out there, The Body Keeps Score, because it is a nervous system issue. So when you're traumatized, you know, it affects you, and you got your left brain that does the logical organization, and you got your right brain that's the intuitive, motivational, or emotions, and that's what keeps you protecting yourself. And the right brain kicks in and the left brain slows down, and you lose your ability to think clearly along with all the other things that are happening. But your brain then signals all the different body parts that do very specific functions, and they aren't operating anymore like they used to. And especially your ability to survive. And that's why you're just in constant survival mode.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when there are only three options when you're stressed, you either fight, you flight, or you freeze. And I've been in the frozen section, you know, since I was 18.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I wasn't living, you know, I've just been surviving, and I haven't been showing up for myself. I haven't been showing up for me. I've been showing up for my kids and my husband, which I do that all day long. But I wasn't showing up for me.
Yeah.
And that was really hard to recognize, you know, because again, that taps into the failure, and it taps into the shame, and it taps in all those things that were taken from you. And it just continues to go back to value and happiness.
Yeah. Well, to touch on, you know, the body at a cellular level does store these traumas.
Yes, it does.
And I don't know if you've read Louise's Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life.
Ooh, okay.
You might like that one, but it really talks about how whether it's a bladder infection or a sty in your eye, that there is a emotional, spiritual component to, like, a sty would be you're seeing the world through angry eyes. What are you angry about? You know, just little things like that. But it's fascinating because I truly do believe that, you know, it's all interconnected. Mind, body, spirit, all together.
All of it.
And, you know, we think we're doing good, you know, because everything on the outside says
so.
Yeah. You know, but inside you're dying.
Yes.
You know, it's a slow death.
It is.
Just not tending to your own garden.
Yeah.
And,
right. Yeah.
You know, there's a reason they tell the parents to put the oxygen mask on first before assisting your children, because really, how good are we to our families when we're suffering?
Right.
And full of shame.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They don't see it.
No.
But you feel it daily.
Because as women, we're really good at pretending.
We are.
We were taught that from a very young age, you know.
We are.
To be the dutiful wife and always have groceries and everything taken care of for everyone else.
Yes.
And then we're last to be tended to.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's normal.
Right.
You know, and even in our culture today, it's like, you know, you can be the boss babe, you can have it all, you can do, you know, but I don't know. Can you?
Yeah, I know. It's a balancing act.
Yeah.
And it's a tough one.
Yeah. You kind of touched on this, but how did it show up in relationships or how you saw yourself? I mean, I think you've kind of shared that, but.
Yeah. I think it's, you know, mainly, for me, was someone who, you know, feels like they lost their value and their voice, and I'm doing everything for everyone else happily. Like, I want to, be the caretaker. I want that role. But it shows up in a relationship in that I think I start to resent certain things that I didn't do. I should have said. And it's just, and that causes conflict because when you don't speak what you really need to say, that does harm you and it harms the relationship.
Yeah.
And it's not intentional. It's just, it can be perceived as maybe you don't care.
Right.
Or maybe I'm not important. The partner doesn't feel important because you're so consumed with taking care of yourself. And in a way, you're almost selfish.
Right.
And it comes across to your partner as, what's going on? Like, why are these, why
Yeah.
are certain things happening? And, and it's just a battle.
When did you share with your husband about your past and when did that all come into?
Well, actually, my husband, we were dating at the time, and I don't know if he was the first person I told when we were dating, but I felt comfortable sharing it with him of what happened. And I, again, told him, it was a one-night stand. And he's like, no, it wasn't. Like, he's the one that kind of helped me acknowledge that first one, because I froze, and that the first one was what it was. And I remember it. We were in my apartment on the plaza, and he said it, and I felt it. And then I put it right back in the vault.
Zip it up.
And so I just, so he, him and I have obviously known about it, but for me, it was a no-go zone because I wasn't ready. And he respected that in a way, but in a way I wish I would have had the courage to just continue talking. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know that I could. I didn't know that I should. I didn't know that how it had shaped me even to that point. Sure. I didn't know, you don't know what you don't know. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't know so much. And I didn't want to feel any of it. And so we just left it there. And then the second one, I knew that one happened because I fought and I kicked and punched and, screamed and all the things. And so I fought, and the end result was still the same.
Was this at school too? The second?
I was doing my internship. I had graduated and I was doing my internship, and he was also older. And he, again, unfortunately, when you've been assaulted once, you're more, 38%, 2 times as more, 3 times as more prone, unfortunately, for it to happen again.
Why do you think that is?
Because, again, predators pick up on our weaknesses. They pick up on which is terrible. It's predator versus prey. You see weakness in someone and you pounce, and that's how they're taking out their aggression. That's their control and power over someone, because obviously somewhere in their life, someone has dominated and controlled and powered them. And so they're projecting onto someone else, and sex is the way that they do that. And well, at least from what I've read. I'm not an expert. I'm not in that medical field. It's just from what I've learned and read. But yeah, they just see it. And the way you carry yourself is just different.
Is it more of like if a woman walks with a lot of assertiveness and confidence, that's someone they would stay away from? Or
Typically, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's more of the meek, head down, not making eye contact, that sort of.
Yes, distracted. They just look vulnerable. Mm-hmm. Women who I think have their value, have their confidence, they carry themselves differently. Mm-hmm. They're very proud.
Yeah.
And they're very almost, I guess, I don't want to say responsible, but they just don't mess with me.
Yeah.
And they don't want that person.
So with the second assault, if it's okay, I just trying to, did you know this man? And was he a friend in this, or was he, can you go into that just a little?
So we worked together. Yeah, we worked together. And, we had good banter. He's a good looking guy. And we went out for happy hour. This is, my internship was 8 to 12 weeks long, and this was probably maybe halfway through it. And we just met for happy hour, no big deal. I just thought we were going out, and then, went back to his apartment. Again, why did I do that? But I didn't, again, think that it would happen because, the fact is anyone should be able to go back to anyone's apartment or car or park and not expect to get raped. Like, that's part of, the stigma that comes with being assaulted is, well, again, you should have known better. Shouldn't have gone back there. But again, I knew him.
Right.
So why would someone that I know, and we're just out, casually having drinks, his impression, his expectation was, sex.
Yeah,
and mine
that's why
wasn't.
you're coming back, is to do that.
Yeah.
When yours was, we're having fun and want to keep the party going.
Right.
You just keep visiting. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not consent to go back to their place.
Right. That's not the automatic.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. If we kiss, okay, that's still not consent.
Right. Right.
So it's just, but again, as part of, the package, you lose sight of boundaries and you don't understand consent versus coercion. And if you think that's what you're good for, and it's, it just is a horrible.
It's a mind fuck.
It is a mind fuck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So did you have to continue to be in this? So you would see him every day?
Yeah.
Was there ever any kind of apology, or nothing was ever said? It was just for both of you was just pretend like it didn't happen.
Yeah. He took me back to my car, and he knew that he knew what was going on. And I think he was scared because he, basically we were drag racing down the interstate, and I just couldn't wait to get home. And I was hoping he wasn't going to follow me home. But the look in his eye, it was terrified. And it was, if you do anything, there are consequences. It was a twofold situation, and I was scared to death.
Yeah.
But again, I had to continue to work with him, and then, our all communication at the place, stopped. And of course, again, I felt like I was partly responsible, and I wasn't going to say anything because I was, ashamed.
Sure.
And it's too scary and vulnerable. And, obviously now I understand it's a he said, she said situation anyway.
That's the thing that frustrates the shit out of me is you get re-traumatized. If you come forward and you go to the police, then you are re-traumatized again because you're going to be, just the way our judicial system is set up is that their attorney is going to paint you in the most horrific light.
Yes.
They're going to say all the things you already feel about yourself. And make you the problem.
Right. It's your fault.
And so it's like, well, of course you're not going to come out. And who wants to go through all of that?
No.
You know?
Yeah.
It's almost like unless someone is caught in the act doing it by another person where it can be witnessed and corroborated.
Right.
The system as it is today is not set to help women come forward.
Yeah. Which, I get it. You kind of hope and wish that they would take someone's, word for it. And then I think of my son and, our sons, and I'm thinking, what if they're in a position where they don't take advantage of a girl? And for them, it is consensual. For her, it's consensual. But then she turns around because he breaks up with her 3 weeks later.
Right.
Or, whatever. And so she turns it on him.
Yeah.
And he didn't do anything wrong. So I also see that double-edged sword, which is very sticky and tricky. And, I don't want that to happen either.
Right.
Yeah. So, but most often, if a girl says she was assaulted, most often she is.
Right.
You got to believe her.
Yeah.
But we have to prove it.
Right.
So
it's set up the way it is so that innocent people don't go to jail. However, it is a murky, because just like you said, with there are women that are out there who feel scorned because they consented to sex and then the guy doesn't want to be with them and then they want to ruin their lives, sadly. And so a lot of that does happen. Yeah. And so weeding out, the truth from the lies in these situations is a tricky situation. What made you feel ready to start sharing your story publicly?
So when I was going through therapy, I have an amazing cognitive therapist, which I highly recommend that someone sees a cognitive therapist. And during, a session, I had expressed to her, I want to get involved with awareness. And I don't know why. I guess maybe I'm just one of those people that I want to use this to benefit other people. And she had said, well, MOCSA, the Metropolitan Organization to Counter Sexual Assault, is here in Kansas City. She knows people there. It's a great organization, and they have a volunteer program. And so I went to them, and I went through the extensive volunteer program. And they serve 5 counties in the Kansas City area, and they offer support and services for survivors and family. They've got the hotline. They've got hospital advocacy, where you can go into the hospitals and have a rape kit done or not. It's up to the person. And then they do outreach. They have tabling events and speaking. And so I got involved with that just for my own. At that point, it was just for my own journey to heal and to give back. And then and of course, I always wanted to be a published author. Mm-hmm. And I knew this book was going to be my first book, because I've been writing it for 30 years. And so those two, that just combination. And then 2 years ago, I came out what my therapist calls the forest. I made it out on the other side, and here you are. Let's sit on the park bench for a while. And what do you want to do? Mm-hmm. And I do like to paint, and I started to paint my feelings. And I'm like, I can't paint. Like, I can go to Pinot's palette. I can do a Pinot's palette, but you want me to paint? I'm like, no, I can't. I just can't do that. So then anyway, I think at that point I opened up, and I was free. I had the energy to do something a little bit more active. Yeah. And so I focused, and I finished the book in a year.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. And then, but in the meantime, my volunteership at MOCSA, I neglected it just because it got to the point where, I was just so busy with the kids, and I just couldn't do it. Yeah. And so I'm kind of kicking myself. I wish I would have kept up that. Anyway, but I'm going to go back through training. I was hoping to do it in May, but life is in the way again, so we're going to do it in August. And so,
when the season is right, mm-hmm. It will align.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So the season is right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What impact do you hope your story has on other women?
Growing up in the 80s, it wasn't talked about, right? 4th grade, the boys went to classroom, the girls went in the classroom, and you talked about reproductive.
Right.
But it wasn't talked about consent and coercion and boundaries and all of that. And so now it is. And MOCSA is in the Kansas City School District, and they open up that door for conversation for students and in the classroom. And so now that it is, I guess, the Me Too movement obviously kind of propelled it into the spotlight as well. And what is it, Law and Order, Sexual Victims Unit, it's just talked about more. Yeah. And there are more organizations to support survivors and their families. And I just thought that, and for me, going back to wanting to give back, I wanted to be involved in the conversation, not for my own vanity at all. It's just more of being another person out there in the world that has experienced something. And I was so alone mm-hmm. and isolated. I just really don't, sorry, I might tear. I don't want anyone to do that. Yeah. Because if people don't face it, the person who did that to them wins. Mm-hmm. They had the control and the power that night, and they still have the control and power over you. And they don't deserve that at all. The survivor, the thriver, as you like to say, they deserve to live free and full of that burden and that chaos. Yeah. And I just want, women, men, boys, all of them, because it happens across the ages, across genders. And I just want them to reclaim their life.
Yeah.
Because why wait? But I know you can't do that until you're ready.
Right.
And no one can force you. I just want them to hopefully see that they can do it, that they can be ready sooner than they think, to give themselves some credit and to, just reclaim everything they lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and again, that's why I think it's just so beautiful that you are taking your story and talking with other people about it, because it does impact people when people don't feel alone. And I relate so much because that's how spirituality has changed my life and helped me look at my wounds and my traumas from the past. And it's just opened up everything that I feel like I don't have a choice but to not share what has been so freely given to me.
Yeah.
And it's now a purpose.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
Super grateful for all of those experiences that have led me here to be able to help other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
For someone who's listening, who hasn't faced something similar yet, what would you want them to hear?
The biggest, so April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
Oh my gosh.
I'm wearing my shirt.
Yeah.
Teal is the color for supporting survivors. And I guess, a lot of what you'll see on social media and a lot of what you learn is, and it's meaningful and powerful, is, you're not responsible and you're not alone. It feels like it, but you're not. And you're not a burden. And for me, part of why I also, the fear of sharing is I didn't want to be a burden to my family and friends. I didn't want them to have to carry any of that and feel any of it, because when you love someone and care about them, it hurts because you feel helpless, like you want to just help them and you want to take their pain away. And in a way, I just didn't want them to experience that. And it was like I was almost protecting them from having to know that something terrible happened to me, and I didn't have the choice about it, and then all of this baggage that comes with that, and that is so isolating. And I just want people to know that you're not a burden, that finding a way to love yourself again is just as important as eating the apple.
Yeah.
It sounds stupid, or
quite frankly.
Yeah. Yeah.
No certificate or degree, even it pales in comparison to the love that we potentially can have for ourselves and what that does.
Yeah. Because it does feel so much better on this side than back there.
Yeah.
And I just want people to know that they can do it.
There's a way through.
It hurts.
Yeah.
It sucks. You don't want to do it. And you're going to take, I joke that I've been on a detour since I was 18.
Right.
But I'm not on the detour anymore. And you feel proud of yourself because you've done something hard and you're on the other side of it.
Right.
I want everyone to experience that achievement.
Well, it's not courage if it isn't scary and it isn't hard.
Yeah.
If it were easy, then it doesn't take courage.
Yeah.
So how has your relationship with yourself changed through this process?
Oh, gosh, a lot.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah. That one's kind of a hard one to answer. Because I want to, I've been angry with myself. Very angry with myself. And it's hard to be angry at yourself, because you want to see yourself as a good person that would rise to any occasion. And you don't want to see yourself as weak and a failure and that you're damaged and you're not worthy of anything good. And I always thought as a kid, you grow up with these ideals of just being a good person and, having a beautiful life. And then when that expectation gets sidetracked and you feel responsible for it, it's kind of hard to feel good about yourself. And it's easier to beat yourself up. And so many times I just want to go back to that girl and just, say, wake the fuck up. Like,
Yes.
it's just like, it's okay. It hurts, but it's okay that you can face it. Like, it's okay. You're going to get through it. And I just wish I could shake her out of the trauma, but you can't. Again, it's a nervous system response, and you don't understand that either. And you're just in survival mode.
Someone brought up to me, she was a counselor and on our show, and she talked about like healing as layers, and more and more gets revealed as you pull back one, and we were laughing about how you get to a place and you're like, man, I am doing so good. Life is great. I feel like I've overcome all these traumas. And then it's like, bam, something hits you and it just brings all of that back up. And you're like, well, wait, I thought I'd already dealt with that. And the truth is, you've grown and changed and healed the universe is giving you even more opportunity to take it to a deeper level. So it's like it won't appear to you until you really are ready. It feels like punishment.
It does.
It's not. It's more layers of healing revealed. So
and you get resentful of yourself. And you just get mad again.
Right.
You're like, really?
Yeah, like all that self-betrayal, which is really what I think at the end of the day, it does feel like we're betraying ourselves and what's really true to us.
Yeah, because your body remembers, well, you abandoned me.
Yeah.
You abandoned me emotionally, and don't do that again.
Yeah.
And you battle it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What does real support look like for someone who is navigating this? Like, what would you have given to yourself all those years ago, knowing what you know now?
I think there are a variety of ways to get the support. Having at least one safe, trusted person. Again, it could be parents, sibling, friends, coach, whoever it is, in addition to a cognitive therapist. Again, that was my choice. I know there are different types of therapists. I just thought cognitive therapy fits what I needed because they kind of help change your perception about what happens and help you move through the emotions and
that's CBT. Is it cognitive behavioral
therapy? Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so having those two components of a professional and a friend that you can talk to or whoever talk to about it, I personally found that was important. And then when I became a volunteer with MOCSA, I remember sitting in the room. It was a two-day training, and I felt the community. Like humans want connection. We seek connection. We find connection with different people for different reasons and different ways. And it was, again, feeling alone. I didn't feel alone in that room because we all experienced the same thing on a different level, of course. But there was a community involved, and I appreciated that community a lot. And that helped make me feel less alone and isolated. Yeah.
Okay, so counselor, and you think cognitive behavioral therapist is ideal or was for you?
It was for me, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Community and a trusted person outside of.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned reconnecting with MOCSA. What does that organization mean to you? Like, how has it impacted you in a positive way?
I wish I would have known about them when things happened to me. And now that sexual assault, the awareness of it is, in conversation now more than it used to be. They've been around over 50 years. They've been around a long time. And with social media, that has helped obviously bring them out of, I don't want to say hiding either, but, unfortunately the stigma associated with is it happens to other people,
right,
in that part of town. And I think, I don't know, but I'm assuming organizations that support those people, probably have their own stigma.
Right.
Right. And so they are very proud, as they should be, because they have fundraisers throughout the year and they are in the community. And I think they are known in the community. And it means a lot to me that we in Kansas City have that organization for 5 of our counties, Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So switching gears here
Mm-hmm.
to towards the end of our conversation,
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
want to know what inspired you to write The Love That Found Us.
I guess, because I love a good love story,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to write a good love story. I want that ache throughout the book, and I want that satisfying ending, even though I wrote it as a romance. It's not. It's women's fiction, with very heavy on the romance. But I also learned, so it's it truly, besides wanting to write an aching, sweeping love story, I wanted it to have a purpose, which is, of course, this first one is to enlighten people about the impact sexual assault, has on a woman and in relationships. And so I can't give it away too much, but the journey that this character goes on, parts of me obviously are in there. The impact is in there. And her trauma dumps, are very classic examples of what the impact is. And obviously I'm using my experience, and I add in, some juicy layers too, just because you have to keep it dramatic.
Right.
It's, even though it's inspired by true events, it's not, a memoir, and it's not true. Right. So anyway, you just get to experience Abby Sinclair's, journey of love.
Now, where can one find this? Are you looking for a publisher right now? Did you get it published?
Not yet.
Okay.
So finding an agent is where I'm at now in the process.
So we're putting that out into the field.
I'm looking for an agent who wants a debut author for women's fiction, heavy on romance. And it is harder than writing it.
Oh, I believe
it is very hard.
Yeah.
So I attend conferences, and I do the query tracker, and it's very specific on finding that specific agent with publishers that focus on that particular area of women's fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And so, thankfully, the internet has been very helpful to, help me find them. But now I just need to capture them enough with the query and with the first, 15 pages. And so it's been in transition.
Yeah.
That first chapter, I think I'm on probably the 6th edition of this first chapter.
Well, no, what's beautiful, Kristin, is as your kids are starting to transition out of the home and going on to college, this is going to open up the door for you to really focus on your writing, focus on who knows what else is next for you.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
Thank you.
I know the opportunities are out there.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I'm looking forward to all of it.
How do you think your journey has shaped the way you show up as a mother?
Oh, huge. But almost not, because I knew what I needed as a kid that was missing. And I knew already that I wanted to give that to my kids, which I think we all take the best, right, of our families and our family environment
That's
dynamics.
The hope.
Right, that's the hope.
Right.
And you hope that what I was lacking, that I give to them, that's what they need, because they might not need what I needed.
Right.
And so I'll have conversations with them and be like, okay, this is what I needed, and this is what I'm, wanting to accomplish and do for you. Is that what you need?
Right.
And so we'll have conversations about that. But overall, what was the question?
How it's shaped your impact on being a mother?
Oh, okay.
Because from where I'm sitting, it feels like you have healed some generational patterns that I believe your kids now, whether they needed them or not, that they're not going to pass that down to their children.
Yeah.
Where you can talk to, I have the very same relationship with my kids. They tell me things that sometimes I wish I didn't really know. Like, that doesn't,
right.
But they feel safe that they can share
Yeah.
whatever it is, that I'm not going to judge, and they're not going to be in trouble. Now we're going to have second conversations.
Right.
But that wasn't my experience as a kid.
Right.
I was terrified. My mom was so strict, and so I never shared with her anything.
Yeah.
And all it did was teach me how to be a great liar.
Right. Yeah, and a pretender.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, now I get it. Yes. I would say because growing up in the 70s and 80s, I don't really know how much families talked about sex, right? I don't know. That wasn't our family. It was just, you wait till marriage and, don't have it.
Right.
Which is normal. Sure, that's fair. So when I guess that opens the door for me to talk to the kids in a way that I can talk to them about sex and it doesn't bother me a bit. Because I want them, and this is what I've spoken at my sorority on 2 different campuses, and part of after I share with them what happened, just to kind of help them, obviously have the awareness of how quickly and easily assaults can happen and what to look out for, is talking to the kids about why are you having sex? Like, what does it mean to you? Because it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, and I think at the core, if you can figure out what it means to you and why you're having it, and to stick with that, I think you're in a better position than someone who just doesn't know why they're having sex. Am I doing it to make someone jealous? Am I doing it to piss somebody off? Am I doing it for control? Am I doing it because I'm lost? I have low self-esteem and I'm just looking for attention. Like, there are so many different reasons why you have sex. And I guess in a way, this experience has helped me communicate with the kids in this way and to keep that dialogue open, because you can hear it from your friends, you can hear it from school. And the kids don't want to talk about it. They don't want to think about it, even though, they're teenagers, they have needs, but
right.
And you want them to be safe and you don't want it to happen to them. And, anyway, so I guess it's just opened up that dialogue in a completely different way.
Yeah, I think
that sex conversation.
That's beautiful.
Sex conversation.
And it's an important one.
Yeah.
What does happiness feel like in your life today?
It feels like an achievement. I know we kind of touched on that earlier, where before growing up, it was moments. You have the big moments of marriage and kids and vacations and whatever, completing a marathon or, I baked a beautiful pie, I mean, those are moments of happiness. And they were very sporadic. And now happiness is consistent. It's readily available. I can still have sadness and bad days, but I don't lean that way anymore. I lean more toward, I can be happy and I've earned it.
Yeah. Well, without the shadows, we would never know what light was.
Right.
So, our lives can't always be sunshine and rainbows and butterflies. We won't appreciate when things are really good if we don't have that darkness and those shadows.
Yeah, because unfortunately, you aren't going to grow and evolve and change if you don't experience challenges.
No.
You just
I wish
I
we
wish
could change when, but like, it seems like when everything's going really well in your life, you're just like, let's just keep it this way.
Right.
Like, I don't want anything to change. I'm just going to stay here frozen in time.
Right.
Like, we know that doesn't work, you know?
Yeah.
But boy, it makes you appreciate
it does
when things are going well and everyone's happy and your health is good and your parents are doing well.
Yes.
All the things.
All the things.
Yeah.
It's so true.
So if you could speak to your younger self during that time, what would you say to her?
Besides wake the F up, is, I guess it goes back to you're loved.
Yeah.
You're really loved from a variety of people, and just know that and believe in it and trust. It's hard to trust yourself, but try to find a way to just love yourself and give yourself grace, because you're going to, take back alleys again. You're going to retreat. You're going to shrink, but you're also going to make improvements and you're going to get through it. Yeah. It's just really giving me, that person, the hope and belief that, you don't have to live this way. Yeah. And there is a way through it.
Beautiful. And what do you hope listeners are going to take away from your story today?
You'll get on the other side of it. And I think for the broader audience, it's more of, we all face challenges. We all move through this life in different ways and different speeds, at different speeds. And, we all have the same things to deal with.
Yeah.
There's taxes. What are we going to eat today? How do we feel when we look at ourselves in the mirror?
Mm-hmm.
But beside that, we also have darker things, and some people have more burdens than others. And it's just about understanding that, we're in this shared experience, and being open-minded and being understanding, even if you don't know someone, or if you do, is just recognize yourself in that person.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what's going on behind the facade of.
No, you do not.
And if you can just be understanding of, okay, that person's in a bad mood today. There's a reason for it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to judge him. I'm not going to make him feel bad about that.
Or take it personally.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just, I guess, in the broader scope, just be open and understanding,
Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed our time together.
Thanks,
I
me too.
really appreciate you coming on today, sharing your story,
Yeah.
giving other hope, and
Hopefully.
definitely. And when this book gets published, we'll have you come back and we'll talk all about
Yes.
the success of it. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Kristin.
I really enjoyed being here. Thank you.